Hi guys, welcome back to another video of Learn to Code. This is now my fifth take of this intro. What we'll be covering today is recursions. If you're watching this after the functions video, you will notice I'm wearing the same clothes. The time has not changed, and it's literally moments after filming that video, so I have the same amount of energy in me as I did a few moments ago. If you're not, let's just treat this like a new video. What we're going to be covering today is recursions. So what a recursion is when a function is used to call another function which is itself. It's basically Inception with functions, and it is probably one of the hardest concepts a lot of people struggle with understanding, is how does a function call itself, which can then call itself unless it returns something else. So I'm going to try and teach this in the simplest way possible, which is doing factorials. So we're going to write a program on idle which calculates the factorial for a number using functions. Now, the first thing we need to do is open up Python and idle. Get straight into coding. I've got my screen already up because I'm well prepared, not like I just filmed a video with idle like 20 seconds ago, but still, regardless, we'll go straight into this. Open up a new script window. We got a blank piece of paper, I guess. It's not really paper, but again, functions are so exciting. So I'm going to write def because that defines a function. I'm going to call my function fact because that stands for factorial, and because I'm a computer scientist, I'm lazy, and I'm just going to call it fact. We define a variable going into the factorial called c. Now, if c is equal to 0, what do I want to do? Well, the factorial will return the number 1, because that's how it works. In the mathematical sense, if a number is equal to 0, the return is 1. Now, if the number is not 1, what do we want the program to do? Well, we're going to basically say return c, which was the number we inputted, times another fact, times, which is then c minus 1. Now, this fact bracket c minus 1 is probably the hardest thing a lot of people understand. When I call fact here, I am referring to this fact. So we are doing one fact with another fact inside, which if that c after a minus 1 is equal to 0, we stop using facts. Now, I'm going to bring the whiteboard up. And I don't have my iPad plugged in, so I'm going to try and... I'm regretting this decision already. We are going back to idle because idle is the best. What we're going to do here is explain this with words. I have this bottle I'm going to use. You know, I'm not sponsored by Highland, but it's pretty good water. I have this function which is called fact. It has some water in it, which I'm going to call c. Now, if I was to make you imagine, if that water is equal to 0, this will, instead of giving me water, give me the number 1. So imagine I put 1 into the program. So what it's going to do is, if 1 is equal to 0, return 1. But we all know that's not true, so it goes to the else. Well, if that's not the case, do 1 times 1 minus 1, which is 0. Then the bottle inside the bottle, just imagine now we have like 2 bottles, it's like bottle inception. That bottle is then going to say, is 0 equal to 0? The answer is true. If you got that wrong, I don't think you should be watching these videos. I'm sorry, that was very mean. But yeah, so we'll have return 1. Now, that basically replaces this fact c minus 1 with 1, and we already have 1 here. So it's 1 times 1. So the factorial of 1 is 1. The function is recursive because the else and if statement require the function, well, they cause the function to call upon itself once more until a statement has been reached where the first if statement is triggered, causing the completion of the recursive function. Recursive functions are very useful in coding because they require a lot less code. Think about this: if you were to write this out without recursion, you would have to have a check to see what's the next one, and then it would have to continue looping. You would have to use loops inside loops, and it just becomes a really messy code. Functions are also great in the sense that they are very efficient for memory allocation. So when we've been doing Python videos before, we've not really looked into memory allocation, but it's something to keep in mind for the future because it can become very, very useful, I assure you. Memory problems, I've run into them once. You know, if you're coding on 4 gigs of RAM, you should probably download some more RAM, is my best bet. But yeah, that's all there is really to running a recursive function. We can run this now. If I was to do fact, let's just do print fact, and let's put 1 in and just make sure it returns the right thing. If I do test underscore 10 now, we've come a long way. That returns 1. Put 2 in, and that works as well. We can try a large number, and you can see that returns the number right there for what is 100 factorial. Now, that's all there really is to this code, you know. It does exactly what it says on the tin, and that's how recursions work. So if you guys have had fun learning about functions in my previous video, and now recursive functions in this video, well, stay tuned because next week we'll be learning about sets. We'll be looking at data structures once again, looking at sets and dictionaries, and that will be one of the final videos of this season saga. I don't know how you want to define it, honestly. But yeah, after the sets and dictionaries video, we'll have a video on importing files into Python, outputting files in Python, and then we'll finally be finishing off the trilogy. It's not a trilogy, it's a saga. It's like the Fast 9 saga of Python videos, and we'll be moving on to Java. So why am I picking Java? Well, Java is the best way of getting into object-oriented programming, which is something else we'll cover in the future. I can do it with Python. It just gets a bit messy, and I'm sure you guys want to move on to something else other than Python. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys have had fun, and I'll see you next time. Remember, use functions.